Hello, young humans. This is your old friend, Michael Chabon, and I'm here for story time. We have a fairy tale today. It's Rapunzel in the beautiful edition illustrated by Paul O. Zelinsky, who is a wonderful illustrator, one of my favorites, one of my kids' favorites. And this is a little bit of a long one. I might have to break it into two parts. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to show you the picture and then read and then show you the picture again with this one because it's so long. So here's the first. Oh, I forgot the title page. Got to do the title page, right? Rapunzel. Illustrated by Paul O. Zelinsky and retold by him. This is an old story. Long ago, there lived a man and a woman who had no children. As year followed year, this was their only sorrow. Then, one spring, the wife felt her dress growing tight around her waist. Joyfully, she said to her husband, "We are going to have a child at last." I may not hold quite so long on the pictures. See if that gives us a little extra time. This is the next one. The wife liked to sit by a small window at the back of their house and look down into a beautiful garden. Flowers grew there and rare fruits and herbs of every kind. The garden belonged to a sorceress who had enclosed it on all sides with a high wall. No one ever dared to enter it. Let's have a look at that again. See the garden of the witch, sorceress. Did you see in this window? There's the couple. See, they live next door. One day, as the wife sat by the window, her eyes fixed on the bed of Rapunzel. The herb looked so luxuriant, so green and thick and fresh that she felt a terrible longing to taste it. Day after day, her craving grew until she began to suffer from it. This is something that happens a lot of times when women are pregnant. They get cravings for one particular kind of food and they just feel like they have to have it. And that's what's happening. It's this leafy green, almost like a kind of lettuce growing called Rapunzel. She became pale and wretched and said to her husband, "I cannot eat some of the Rapunzel from the garden behind our house. I am going to die." One last look before we turn the page. We're going to see what's going on here. See him? Okay. Her husband was alarmed to hear such desperate words. He loved his wife dearly and saw no choice but to bring her some of the Rapunzel. 10 times, 20 times he circled the garden wall but found neither door nor gate. So lowering himself through the window at the back of the house, he climbed down into the sorceress's garden. Quickly, he pulled up as much Rapunzel as he could hold and scrambled back up through the window. His wife made a salad of the roots and greens and devoured it with a wild hunger. So intensely delicious was the taste that she nearly fainted as she ate. Yet, the next day, her craving for Rapunzel was even fiercer than before. So there's the husband, being a good husband, even if it means he's doing something he's not supposed to do. He's gathering Rapunzel, see? And there she is. Just look how much she's enjoying just the smell of it. She's really craving that vegetable. It's probably her body telling her she needs green vegetables to make her baby stronger in her belly. Once again, the husband made his way down the wall and into the garden. But this time, as he reached for the Rapunzel, the sorceress rose up behind him. Look at that. "How dare you come here to steal my Rapunzel?" she cried. "Oh, it will serve you ill." Have mercy on me, the man begged. My wife is carrying our child. She has seen your Rapunzel from our window and conceived such a longing for it that she will die unless she can eat some. What am I to do? The sorceress considered his words. If what you say is true, you may take the Rapunzel that you need, but in return, you must give me the child your wife will bear. The frightened husband did not know what to say. Rather than see his wife die, he agreed to the demand. And when the child was born, the sorceress appeared in the room. She named the baby girl Rapunzel and carried her away. Maybe he was taking his wife's craving a little too seriously. But a bargain is a bargain. So here's a picture. Here she is, the mom in labor. See the midwife there helping her have the baby while the husband waits, probably thinking, oh gosh, wait till she finds out what I made a deal with. The deal I made was that there is the sorceress taking baby Rapunzel away. The sorceress cared for the baby, seeing to her every need. Rapunzel grew to be a child of rare beauty, with pale skin and an abundance of flowing red gold hair. When she reached the age of 12, the sorceress led her into the forest to live in a high tower. So, she grew up with just the sorceress. She seems pretty happy, right? In this beautiful landscape. But then when she turns 12, in other words, right before she starts to grow in to become a woman, from a girl, the sorceress leads her away to a tower deep in the woods. This tower was a great column rising in the middle of the woods. Although it looked narrow on the outside, on the inside it was large with many elegant rooms. Yet no door led into this tower, and its only window was at the very top. When the sorceress wished to enter, she stood below the window and called, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Then Rapunzel would unpin her silky braids, wind them around a hook on the window frame, and let them tumble all the way to the ground. The sorceress would grab hold of them and hoist herself up. See, there's the tower. There's the sorceress below it. So it looks very skinny on the outside, but it's a magical tower. And here is the sorceress. See, Rapunzel has tied her hair around that hook and made a kind of a rope ladder. And look at the sorceress. This picture always fascinated my kids when they were little because she looks very athletic, doesn't she? Strong. For years, Rapunzel lived alone in her rooms above the treetops, visited only by the sorceress. Then one day, a king's son came riding through the woods. As he neared the tower, he heard a voice sweeter than any he had ever known. It was Rapunzel singing to the forest birds. Charmed by her voice, the prince fell deeply in love. He circled the tower 10 times, 20 times, but found no entrance. How strange this tower is, he said to himself, and felt he would die of sadness. All these people feeling like they're going to die if they don't get something. There's the prince. See? He inquired at the nearest houses, where he was told that the tower belonged to a sorceress who was keeping a young girl shut away inside. Day after day, the prince returned, hoping to glimpse the girl whose sweet singing had moved him so. One morning he saw the sorceress appear below the window and call up, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. At once the prince knew how he too might enter the tower. The next evening he stood under the window and called, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Rapunzel's hair came billowing down. The king's son took hold of it and pulled himself up. Heaven preserve me, cried Rapunzel when the prince stepped through her window, for she had never set eyes on a man before. But he began to speak to her in such a friendly way that her fear was soon gone. So here he is. After he called to her, she put her hair down. Now he's climbing into her window. Imagine that. She's never seen a man before in her whole life. Only the sorceress is the only person she's ever seen. Your singing was so beautiful, the prince told her, that I knew I must see your face or my heart could have no peace. Rapunzel saw that he was young and handsome. In her own heart she felt a happiness she had never known, and when the prince, grown bold, proposed to marry her, then and there she consented. They held a ceremony in the tower, and every evening after that he returned. The sorceress, who came only by day, knew nothing of his visits. So there he is. They married each other secretly. You can see the cat in the background. The cat knows. One day when the sorceress entered the tower, Rapunzel said, "If you please, stepmother, help me with my dress. It's growing so tight around my waist, it doesn't want to fit me anymore." Instantly, the sorceress understood what Rapunzel did not. "Oh, you wicked child," she shrieked. "What do I hear you say? I thought I had kept you safe away from the whole world, but you have betrayed me." The sorceress wants to keep Rapunzel for herself and not let anyone else even know her. And now she found out, not only does Rapunzel have another person in her life that she loves, but they got pregnant. She got pregnant with him. She's going to have a baby. In a rage, she seized the braids and coils of Rapunzel's silky hair and sheared them off. Look at that. She's cutting the hair. Then she sent the miserable girl to a wild country to live alone with no one to care for her. After some months in this wilderness, Rapunzel gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. That's where she's living, in that wilderness. I can't even see her in the middle. Once the sorceress had cast Rapunzel out of the tower, she gathered the cut-off hair and fastened it to the window hook. That evening, when the prince called up, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she let the hair cascade down. The poor prince pulled himself up to the window, only to be confronted by the sorceress, her eyes wild with fury. "So you've come to fetch your dearest darling," she cried. "Well, you shall not see her again. Rapunzel is lost to you forever." Struck through with grief, the prince let go of the braids, and he plummeted to the ground. So shocked. And there he is. He fell all the way from the top, all the way to the ground. And he hit the ground very hard. Although the fall should have killed him, the prince lived, but his eyes were hurt. He could no longer see. Wretched and blind, he stumbled from place to place, eating nothing but roots and berries, thinking of nothing but the loss of his beloved wife. After a year of wandering in such misery, he came into the same wilderness where Rapunzel was living with her children. There, one day, he heard a voice so dear to him that he rushed toward it. Rapunzel saw him and opened her arms to him, weeping. Here he is, stumbling along through the wilderness without being able to see. But then one day he hears a voice and he runs toward it. And you're going to see a big picture of their happy reunion. Yay, they found each other. You can see the twins there in the background. And there's Rapunzel, the mom. She looks more grown up now. As Rapunzel embraced the prince, two of her tears fell into his eyes. Suddenly his vision grew clear. Once again the prince could see. He gazed at Rapunzel and at their two beautiful children. He looked up at the hills beyond the rocky landscape and knew that he was not lost. The prince led his family out of the wilderness toward his kingdom, where they were received with great joy. There, see, that's the kingdom where the prince came from to begin with. And now they have found their way back with their children, I presume, even though you can't see their children in that picture. There they lived a long life, happy and content. Well, that's all. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure liked reading it to you. And until next time, stay safe, be kind, have fun. Bye.